Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Essential Messages. My name is Bobby, and I will be your guide for this moment in time. Today, sorry, I've got all these things popping up. Today, I'm going to discuss consciousness, dream time, waking time, lucid dreaming, all that sort of stuff. I wanted to choose a subject this time, and I think this is how I'm probably going to progress a bit more, because usually with my channeling, I just kind of leave it open to whatever it comes through. And I'm starting to feel this needs to be grounded more. And so I've chosen a topic. I changed my mind and chose a topic. And I wanted to go into dream state and the awareness of oneself and these different levels of consciousness that all reside within us, because we all sleep and we all have waking moments. And that is pretty much the whole of humanity's life, sleeping and waking and so forth. I really don't know what's going on at the moment too with the YouTube live streaming. Things are popping up everywhere that I've never ever seen before, and the chat bar wasn't working yesterday, so I don't know what's going on with everything at the moment when it comes to glitches, but there's a lot. Okay, let's clear the air and get into this. Hey, Nicole, good to see you. Right, I wanted to first of all ask the question, what is dream state and what is waking state? So dream state, they bring me to more of an imagination. See, dream state is very flux. Obviously, there's no time, there's no timeline. It can jump from one thing to another. There's no sense in a respect of birth to death kind of a arrangement where one slowly grows older and you see it slowly happening. There's no physical contents to that. Literally anything is possible in dream time. We are still conditioned, that they're telling me we're still conditioned though by our belief system, our interpretation of things as infiltrates the divineness of limited possibilities and unlimited possibilities. Sorry, and the reason why this happens is because we are gifted a expression or a chance to be able to learn from that dream state, and then we can pull it into the life that we've created in a physical term, in a waking beta consciousness. And when we can pull that into our real living time by taking a dream that is held within the short-term memory and asking it to be extended into the long-term memory by writing it down, going over the feelings as you wake up and all that sort of stuff, then you can actually gain information that goes beyond what a logical mind would have set in itself, of what our reality is in a waking state. So this is like almost like a teaching ground for one's soul to experience. They are bringing me to the fact that if we don't sleep, we literally lose the plot. We go crazy. So why would we lose the plot if we don't sleep? I mean, there are the odd person out there that can go through life with less sleep and all of that sort of thing, but generally speaking, the majority of everybody needs to have a certain amount of sleep, and that is because the soul is the soul in itself needs to leave the conditioned environment and move into a state or a flow where it feels more comfortable, especially when the conditioned environment that we have pulled ourselves into is very limited, a hard place for the soul to reside. a mindset that is held in a resistance, in a negative sort of a feel and fear-based conditioning, then you'll feel tireder. You literally feel tired because you're like, I can't do this anymore. My soul needs to rest from all of this anxiety, and that sort of thing. Anxiety is something that can literally make you sleep a lot because it's just too much going on for the soul to handle, and it wants a reprieve, yeah. And so we sleep, and then the soul ends up feeling freer again. It's not, they're showing me like a level of consciousness there in that dream state, and they're showing me if we passed over, it even steps out further. But you can actually access, the more that you are balanced in this physical beta reality, you can access your two hemispheres of your brain, when they are actually at harmony with each other, when there is peace, when there is a stillness found within a love vibration. We can access literally so much more. They have actually scientifically proven this, through beta waves, and or beta beats or something, and then harmonizing the brain. But we can do this without that. There's a sort of a resonance that you find when you start to love the wholeness of yourself, everything about yourself. There's a resonance that is found when the intuition loves the logic and the logic loves the intuition. And we find this common ground, which is a central space of like a void. And when we can get to that, we are then resonating like a tuning fork to more than just our body, and we can access even it's like we become an observer of, or we resonate with the heartbeat of Earth, and everything living on it has an underlining connection to that. Even those that are disconnected, as in humans that are disconnected from the heartbeat of Earth through a resistance that they have formed, it is a resistance that is going against the truth, or the heartbeat, or the resonance of Earth. And so to resist something means it exists. Yeah, very cool. Okay, so I love how we're getting into this with my team. So in the dream state, you have the capabilities to understand yourself as more of a soul level. In the waking state, you are more, you are now allowing the program of the logical mind to be more in a more, what would I call that? I was going to say more awareness, but it's already, I wish there was more English words that I knew. Resonance, I can't really explain that information, sorry. But yeah, the logical mind is like aware of its programming while we are awake, but still the soul is the overseer of everything, which can be accessed while we are in dream time. If we start to merge dream time with the awaking, there's a point where you wake up. And when you wake up, my team calls this twilight. And this is when I started to receive channel messages, because I had found a clear enough space within my energy frequency, within my reality, my aura field, my body, everything, to be able to access this, at least at the point when they first started me, at waking point. So before that, I was seeing things. It's like others from higher dimensions had a kind of like signed a contract with me to work with me. And I had all these others, sorry, I've got an eyelash in my eye. that were giving me visions, and so they'd come and visit me and give me this information that was really bizarre, and some of it was premonition, some of it was just information, and I started to see it as the information that was rolling in, predictive futures and stuff like that, that I could choose not to go down that line if I wanted to, and or I could experience it and see the prediction actually come true. And I quite often the prediction came true, even if it was something I didn't want to do, because I was in a kind of a training ground for the first 50 years of my life when I could see things. Now, even though you probably can't see things like I did, I had to have that awakening from my guides, because I didn't have somebody like me in a physical way to be able to teach you. So someone had to teach me, and so I had a very strong connection to my soul, and soul frequency that was had alignment with other beings that had decided as their mission, and my mission was combined. So then till the age of 50, I could see things that were giving me information that was beyond what most people could comprehend, and even I could comprehend sometimes. And it kept blowing my logical brain out of the water, like, what the frick, that actually happened. Oh my gosh. That information that they told me is, as I've now seen it in a scientific paper, they've only just found out about it, or a year later they found out about it, whatever, and it just kept blowing my mind. And so it was preparing my logical brain to open the door to saying it doesn't know everything. And what we're taught in a school system is that logic knows everything, and logic needs to copy and paste and remember what somebody else has told it. But where did that somebody else get their information from? You have to think, even logically, this does not make sense. That's the only way that we can gain information is by somebody else and their way of getting to, maybe doing experiments or whatever. But even in an experiment, you have to have an imagination to have asked for the experiment to come into play, to be able to put it to practice in a physical form for that information to come through, right? So it's an imagination that starts it. And I think humanity is kind of lost that wisdom or that awareness that we actually are created through our imagination. That is the first spark of consciousness, now being asked whether we want to ground it by our logical mind, saying, yes, I like that story, let's ground it. And so we have always had this capacity to be able to create our reality. So yeah, going back to my story though, when I was back then, when I was actually seeing visions, and then they showed me a big cross coming, because when the visions really started big time, there was a big X falling over me, and then one of the last visions I had was a big X falling over me, and I'm like, oh my God, it's the end, because it's like tying the knot at the other end, and I'm like, oh, now what's going to happen? I didn't know what was going to happen, but then they used to give me information at what they call twilight. So I would wake up, and just as I'm waking up, so I'm still in that soul kind of essence, esoteric feeling or vibration. And then as I'm waking up, I'm hearing in my head information. I'm getting information. I'm getting this block of understanding and wisdom. And so when I got that block of understanding and wisdom, then I went, oh my God, that's so profound. I have to write that down. And that gave me the grounding by writing it down. That's what I call grounding. So I grounded the information. And then it took me 2 weeks, because I didn't know the programs that I was using to put it into a video. And I had to learn how to do that, to actually get the video together, write it all out, put the video. Now it takes me a few days, so I'm really lucky that I can, I've been doing it for quite a few years now. So that happened every 2 weeks, though, when I posted that video up, which was the start of Codes to a New Reality, that is on my YouTube. If you scroll down, you'll see the very start of those messages that had come through, the very first ones. then after 2 weeks it happened and I'd put up the video, all of a sudden, boom, I wake up with a whole brand new another message that and it just kept going like that for 2 years. It went like that. So I started to get these profound messages coming through. And then after 2 years, I went through a terrible breakup. And I just went, you know what? I'm just going to be me. And who am I? I love this channeling these messages. I absolutely loved it. So I thought, why not go live? Why not just throw myself on the YouTube and go live? So what I was really bringing you to, though, is that moment in time where I was just waking and not quite awoken. And in that moment, we have this ability or an access, but it won't happen to you unless you have found at least a common ground between logic and intuition, which is a process that I had to go through of how I was navigating life in a general sense while I was woken. Because if you don't meet it, how are you going to receive it? And then you will maybe receive a message at twilight as you're waking up, but your logical brain will be too much in control and will squash that information. And so all of a sudden you'll either forget the information because it won't retain it in its long-term memory, which is, I feel, more logically based long-term memory. It's what the logical side, or that left hemisphere, that needs to contain the program to keep the ball rolling from birth to death, so the story keeps picking up where it left after we woke up. Otherwise it would keep changing. That's what they're telling me. It would keep changing if our logical brain didn't have this program infused within it to hold things into a long-term memory. Then every time we woke up, we would have shifted the story too dramatically for it to be a continual story, kind of like in the dream world. But dream world is even more so, because really logic doesn't play a big part. The only reason why logic would come in or be involved in a dream time is when you have a massive issue that your soul is trying to send messages through to your waking self, to how to shift it. And so you might have a dream of, I don't know, you had upsetting fight with your sister, and then the dream will come in and you're upset with your mother from when you were a child or whatever, and you're like, why am I dreaming that? Well, it was kind of like the soul saying, well, that energy started when you were younger, and you've just kind of we're caught in the same energy frequency, and it keeps repeating itself through different people and different stories and that sort of thing. That's why it's really important to go back to when you were young, or even before life. Sometimes they say, you can even carry on things from a previous life, a wound, an energetic vibration that you've come into this life with. So consciousness is itself, that they're telling me we need to be able to progress into this higher dimensional reality that we really want to progress into, where telepathy exists and everything. There's a union of oneself, wholeness and consciousness, like collaborating with our dream world as well as our waking world. And if you don't dream at all, if you can't remember any dreams, your logical mind's like too much in charge. So just be aware of that. To do practices of, just as you're waking up, feel into any feeling. It can spur the story again. You can write down just snippets, even if it's like apple, or just one single item or something that you remember in your dream. Just write it down, because at least it's grounding something, and it's asking your logical mind to ground that information more. So you can start to, it's a process of allowing your logical mind as you're waking up, allowing it to be processed into your long-term memory to be able to gain more wisdom from it. So yeah, then there's, you know, psychedelics and all of that sort of thing, and meditations. We can access these parts of ourselves, and that go beyond just this physical beta lifestyle that we've created. And it's one of those things that have been repressed in this reality for a long time, because there's no way someone else outside of us could be in control of us, which they are, unless that part of ourselves was squished, belittled, or whatever. So this is the part of ourselves that is learning to be appreciated again. Our dream time, our meditations, and what we receive through meditations, and whether they are there's all sorts of things that can happen. It could be allowing a real entity to come in, and a real being from somewhere else that has access to the same vibration as you are in that dream state or meditational state, to be able to send you through messages, and you be confronted with this being in front of you, that could be a real being, or that could be just your mirror reflection of your own fears, your own wishes and grants that haven't come true, and you're manifesting it in another being opposite you. Now, how do you know the difference between something that is from yourself or something that is created outside of you? They are saying all is one anyway. My team is bringing up that, you know, at the core essence, we need to be able to express that all is one. Everything outside of you is already coming from within you anyway. But there is a stream of souls going on a journey that is connected, a connection to the oneness. Like oneness is split into trillions of different life forms and souls and everything experiencing different things all at the same time. That's how almighty, powerful source energy God is, whatever you want to call it. The all is, the oneness is the collective of everything. But you, as your little spark of consciousness, which is source energy in itself, the oneness where it's come from, that is only one line of understanding that you know, and you know that well. That's who you are, and that's the only thing that is really of awareness through your spark of consciousness. It's not until you get to talk to another person's spark of consciousness that you see the differences between you, maybe lessons that you've learned that they haven't learned, imaginations that they have because they have different previous lives than you do, you know, different ways of creation and art forms and stuff like that. And that's where the expansion can come through the two vectors meeting, the two circles meeting at the middle and creating this whole other vibration. So we crisscross as well, to find or expand ourselves as we meet other people. It's really interesting how we're going so deep into this conversation with my team. But the most important thing, I suppose, to recognize in the now, and the here and now, is the awakening of one's self, vibrating at a higher existence of level that can access the whole of what's happening on Earth at any given moment. Meaning telepathy is game on. And then we could even go further than that into, and this is why when I was taken to oneness, I ended up at that Taurus energy of all existence, everything, and this included within my soul lineage or my soul's journey, the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Cyanians, it included that as well, because I remember their feelings, their vibration. I remember how it feels like to be on those planets. And so I have this expansion within myself, because I'm closer to coming from there than the majority of people who have had regurgitated their life after life after life, stuck in this kind of loop that's on Earth, but also learning as they are all about the physical world, which I aren't up to par with their physical understanding, like, because I've had to learn very quickly. This physical world was like me feeling like a fish out of water. So yeah, so dreams are very worthy to, if we can access them more. Now that they're bringing me to lucid dreaming, is learning to control the dream as a soul in the experience, and the experience that you want to feel into, experience, have the adventure that you want to have. You can make manifest as a soul, but you need more control over that. So you can learn that from the program of the logical mind, which has a very fixated program in it of what reality is. And it's but then if you can learn that to lucid dream, then there is every possibility for you to learn to lucid while you're lucid awakening, lucid your reality, kind of like manifest your reality into, or spark new manifestations in a grounded way into this world. Especially if you have already done life after life after life on this planet, learning all about the physical world and your interaction with it, and how the separation that we've created, how that actually works, and how we can build the buildings, and how we go through the process of creating a physical world in front of us. Yeah, something to do with that. That is a lot. That will be, if that person who knew more about, is more logically based, more masculine based, learn how to access the intuitive soul dreaming state of awareness, then and then become lucid in it. In other words, controlling it. Wow, they will be able to also feed that through and control the outer world. So for me, because I'm coming from the other direction, where I'm more in the lucid state, I can do lucid dreaming. I've done flying, premonitions, all that sort of stuff. And I'm very aware in a dreamlike state, the energies that are around me and that sort of thing. But for me to ground my reality is the trick that I am learning now. And so I'm going the opposite way to most people. But consciousness in itself is that interaction of pulling it together. And it's like infusing more love into the physical world, because the world is being carved through resistance in a physical way, but it's not had a lot of love, because the resistance has caused too much friction between everything being separated. And now we are asking for more love to come into this reality, which will make it a lot more pleasant, but it'll also open the doorway to where love exists, the soul exists in the dream world as well. And so, yeah. Any beings, negative dreams that you have, things that are horrific that are coming towards you, that are just fear in itself, is because of a repressed, you've repressed part of yourself, and a power within yourself has been manifested or made manifested in your dream state as an entity attacking you, or something attacking you. And it's only when I, as myself, chose to face that creation that I created through my own resistance of not knowing my own power, not accepting my own power. I ended up I tried everything to begin with. I tried killing it, electrocuting this demonic experience. I tried everything, and it infiltrated my life. Like, it literally came into my reality, manifested in dolls and pictures and all sorts of things. Pretty horrific. But in the end, the only way for me to really take control of this was to empower myself enough to know that I had the same power as the negative force that was coming towards me. And to do that is to hold out my hand and say, come with me. So I have spoken about that before, but this is where we meet in the middle of I have no more fears. So if you're diving into the dream world and you start to experience these nightmarish kind of things, there's something in you that you are that powerful. Whatever you see in your dream, whatever experience you have manifested of an entity that's coming towards you, and I've had them physically coming towards me, whatever that is, that power that you feel in them is the same power that you've denied within yourself, because there is nothing outside of you that isn't of equalness, because we all come from the core essence, love, going on a journey, source energy, going on this journey of self-discovery, adventure, experience, and then returning back to oneself in the end. So there cannot be anything outside of you or that is more powerful in frequency other than you deciding that you aren't. You deciding your will is already, or your logical brain has said that thing's way more powerful than you, then it has power over you. You've literally given it power over you, and it doesn't work. So that's how to nullify negative dreams and stuff like that. And I've had to go through all of this myself for me to be, because I always said I wanted to be a living example of what I teach. And so everything that I'm telling you, I have gone through and I've experienced, and I've popped out the other side. And now, I don't fear a lot. And if I do, I am very honest with it. I am very honest. If anything, I fear more the physical world now. I don't fear the spiritual world at all. They're more afraid of me than I am of them, because I will free them. Come with me, I will help you and free you. But the physical world and navigating this denser kind of condition, and my logical brain asking that to come on board with the power of the feminine side that I have residing within me, it's asking it to move up, and that's quite a thing for me anyway. Oh my gosh. So yes. Hey everyone in the chat bar, good to see you. Good morning, Love Dance too. And Natalie and Nicole, Sky, Arne, James, Wade, good to see you guys in the chat bar. Yay, the chat bar is working today. So yeah, if there's any questions too, please ask away in the chat bar. I just wanted to really tune into how could we help ourselves navigate ourselves towards a more higher frequency where we have no fear residing within ourselves anymore, other than a progression of I want to evolve into something new. So we cause resistance through that evolutional space of creating a new adventure, and then the fear can come with that, and then you then break through the fear of mirroring the same power of the fear that you have created through the resistance. Oh, that is so cool. I love that Jessie one there. Can you talk about out of body as well? Is that our soul leaving the body, out of body, like astral traveling? So yes, the soul has the soul to me is everything though. The soul to me is the mind, the body, the heart, the everything. It is made manifest into this package, and we slowly grow up or grow into this reality. We become more of, it's like something becoming more bigger and bigger and bigger, and the reality is literally you growing up into the reality, and then you get to a point where you grow down again into the spiritual world, and that's why we get older and our bodies go. So I see it all as the same, but there is an awareness or consciousness that can Let's go of the container field that it created when we pass over. So if we were astral traveling, we can also leave this container field, which gives us a lot more, but they're showing me for some reason Earth, and then having higher atmospheres. Like this is all programming within us of what reality is. So depending on your program of what your reality is, you make that work for you. But for me, it's an Earth, and there's an atmosphere, and in the atmosphere around surrounding Earth, I feel there's this vibration that goes between that and space itself, and they're showing me the same thing happening as you wake up, between dream and waking up. So if you're astral traveling, you are connecting to that frequency around the Earth that has the observer point of view of being able to navigate yourself at any point around Earth. You can actually gain much, and this is where okay, we're going there. This is where teleportation comes in, because one to teleport must have learned to remote view or astral travel. Either remote viewing is accessing that same frequency as well, but just still being contained within the mind of oneself. And so you're accessing the frequency that is around Earth that contains all information that's happening on Earth. And then you pinpoint it by focus. So your focus is very important to know. So if you were, say, for instance, in the future where you have a clear mind, clarity of mind, everything's working within, that pure clarity. If you were in that future, or that presence of mind, and you wanted to go home, and you were, say, out in the forest, then you would just close your eyes, visualize your home and the bedroom or the bed that you wanted to manifest your body, your frequency towards. So yeah, now we're going into teleportation and all that sort of stuff as well. Sometimes I never know where these questions are going to lead me. But astral traveling in itself is definitely something that you can attain. People do like to have a silver thread or something, or a string from their soul. They say from their soul, because what's happened is you still want to logify what's going on, and to logify what's going on, you don't see it as a wholeness, because it doesn't kind of make sense to a logical brain. It has to have a storyline of, I'm attached to a thread, a silver thread, or something, and so that attachment helps you feel like you are still going to be able to return to your body, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, do that if you need to, but they're telling me in the higher frequencies, it's literally just visualization, focus, and attunement to the frequency of where you want to go next, where the world is rebuilt around you, because you are the one building the world. Okay, so that's what I get from that. Do you Reiki before you sleep? No, I honestly, Wade, I do very little, because I can just access things that I don't think others had that capability, because they come straight from, well, what had happened with me is my life in Pleiades ended up, I ended up in a higher dimension of Earth's potential. We would say we were going, and this is why I'm here to help others return to that potential. And I still had access to Pleiades, so I could go back and forth to Pleiades if I wanted to. But I pretty much resided on Earth, holding these codes for the return of this to happen. So I don't do Reiki. I hardly meditate. I hardly do anything. Honestly, it just happens with me. This is why I saw things before. But I would definitely say, for those that are more grounded in this reality, things like Reiki, things like feeling like they have to clear their energy, things like the silver thread, when the astral all of that is relevant to the fact that the logical mind is at least on board and doing something in an esoteric way, including it into the reality of oneself. And so that's very, very valuable to that person. So whatever you feel uncomfortable with, but my team's also saying, just be careful that you don't rely on something, because when you rely on an outer thing, if all the conditionings don't match up to that outer thing happening, you are then held hostage again back to where you were. You're not free to be able to explore or experience these other astral realms and stuff like that. Yeah. I Reiki, then practiced dream yoga at work. So I found my hands with my eyes in my dream and state. I love that. That's so cool. Yeah. And honestly, it's perfect, because that's what is needed for you to be able to access more. It's just that I didn't need to do any of that. It was just it was a natural given for me. I already had feelings and vibrations that matched these higher dimensions, and I'm just really fully embracing that in a grounded way, expressing to the world who I am in these last few years, because it does take a bit to, especially when you're brought up in a world that you're like, you think you're what? And I'm like, I don't think anything, I know, because these are the feelings I have, and that's just part of who I am as an existence. But yeah, so to astral travel, if you want to do more of that, there was that meditation that I was gifted, that I was telling. Well, I tripped over it from someone else. Okay, so I tripped over a post of this meditation, and I always see it as a gift. So that's how I see it. And now I told a few people in one of my channelings recently. So that's the one that you already know about, Sky, where you just they said put something underneath your knees to raise your knees, and then close your eyes and just breathe normally, but you're not allowed to move, because when you move, so you want you to be consciously aware, but when you start to go into a altered state, if you're still awake, your body will start twitching, itching, and all that sort of stuff, because it's asking your conscious state, are you asleep? And if you don't move, if you persevere through that, then you can flip on the other side and be consciously aware. And then you can have experiences that you can astral travel. You can literally leave your body and that sort of thing in astral travel, or you can have experiences of awarenesses in this other frequency that I was talking about, where you can attune to so much more, expand your reality. So try that, and you just breathe normally. You don't need to make any sort of, but there are other ways. I'm just saying one way that I was just led to recently. There are other ways. I don't very often try these things out too many times, because I can already access. So it's kind of like, I don't need to. Yeah. So that might help as well if you want to give that a go. But yeah, anything that you come across, and ask your spirit, ask yourself, your whole self, your consciousness, your awareness of yourself, ask universe, whatever you want to call it, source energy, oneness. Ask how can you connect more to that oneness? How can you connect more to and expand your reality? And then you might be taken to somebody that teaches you Reiki, or teaches you how to access crystals, or I don't know. It doesn't really matter. That's so funny. It doesn't matter, because it's all frequency alignment, and it's helping your logical mind to decipher how to get there. Because it needs a story, because the logical mind, remember, holds on to our lineal story. That's what creates this reality, is the birth to death story. So in that program, it's needing to access something that goes beyond the program. It's still would like to have a story because it makes it feel safe. So if that's what makes you feel safe, then please do that. But at least I can sit here and say to you, you don't necessarily need it. You just need to find the vibration that you want to attune to, and then remember that frequency or that feeling. So when my team took me into the higher dimensions, which I knew I had existed in those higher potential existences before on Earth, when I woke up, my mind was completely clear, absolute clarity, and then telepathy, telekinesis, all of that instant manifestation was all available because of the clarity that I held in the frequency. It wasn't that I left Earth or anything. I was just in a different frequency. So my home was high up on a mountain. No one could get there unless it was they could teleport. So you can live in these other existences where you can't be touched by those that are in the lower dimensions, but you still are aware of them living in the lower dimensions, in their unstately mind or unbalanced mind. You can help access them through dreams and stuff like that when you get to that higher vibration. But I now have forgotten my train of thought of where I was going with that one. But yeah. So when I accessed into that higher frequency, yeah, there was something about that. Yeah, that's right. I have a feeling. I know that feeling is like a utopic feeling. And when they took me in the dream, that feeling was so beautiful. And it was like, excuse my throat, and it was like just clarity of my, just clarity, just pureness. I can't explain it more than that. But it feels euphoric, but not like a drug taken euphoric where it goes like this. Of euphoric crap. It's just straight. There's just euphoric all the time. That feeling was my compass. So when I woke up, I listened to some music straight away. It was a song called "A Swing Set Chain" by LaCoit. It was just something that was on my MP3 player at the time, because this is that way back early 2000s. And I listened to that song, and then every time I listened to that song, because I just woke up and I still had the same feeling as what I had in that higher dimension, every time I listened to that song, I ended up experiencing the same vibration. And I painted a picture as well. So every time I looked at that picture, I had the same vibration. That was my compass. That was my home. My knowing where I am, what I can attain to, what I can move towards. And so every single thing that I have done up till now has always been gravitating towards that home, that space that I want to accomplish. And it's just a shame that many of the fellas, the guys that I ended up hooking up with, they couldn't come with me because they weren't ready, or I was going too far, too high, too whatever. And so the relationships around me just kept crumbling. So it's a bit of a lonely path to do this. But I feel as I help awaken many, I don't want to be there at the end by myself, because that's where where I come from. It's about helping many people awaken to these frequencies, or this frequency that I know of anyway, which is just beautiful. And then we can all like join each other, and I won't be so alone in that frequency, because there was people there. There were others there. They teleported there. They were my friends, but I was alone in my house. Yeah. So yeah, it's just frequency alignment in the end. And to do that, we need to clear space that's holding us back in a conditioned fear-based society or reality. So yeah, consciousness. Okay, we started off with dreams, and we went through consciousness, and we've gone to astral realms, all sorts of different things in this one. But it's fun anyway. I want to talk more about my stories and what I've achieved, because I have gone through so much when it comes to living on the edge of this reality, and so many more realities that I have experience through this journey. So if I can help anybody else through those stories, then that's what I will do. And Yeah. So maybe once a week as well. Maybe I'll do 3 times a week where I do the channeling. Maybe then we will do more of a story topic thing, and then we'll still keep the tarot up for those that want those free tarot readings as well. But it's all fun and games as we move along and see where it all takes us. So I think I will leave you guys there. I will wrap this up. Thank you so much for being in the chat bar, and thank you so much for the questions. I love questions because I'm empathic, and questions just ignite me into the answers. Like my team comes through with new answers. It's the questions that we need to ask. So please save up all your questions, maybe for next week, and ask away. I love it. Okay. Bye. Oh, I don't see the off button in the screen. Okay.